This is Compose Your Comeback. Real stories, real resilience. Because when life knocks you down, the only way forward is to get back up.
My father had 3 children with my mother, and when they split, he vanished. I would only see him once a year at Christmas.
While most kids were sat at home on Christmas Eve, waiting for a man in a big red suit with soot in his beard, I was waiting to see my dad. These are the streets of my childhood, Caerphilly. I used to search for him in shop doorways, in passing cars, in the faces of the crowds, walking up and down Cardiff Road, just hoping maybe this time he'd be there. He was charming, likable, talented, but he didn't teach me how to ride a bike. He didn't come to my school plays, didn't ask how I was doing, didn't show up for me on the hard days or the big ones. He wasn't there when I needed a dad. I lived with my grandparents, and one night before my parents' final split, I stayed with my mum and dad. He got drunk at the pub, brought his mates home, and turned the front room into a gig. There were drums, bass, guitar, all set up, and my mum had enough and told him to leave. He did. He left the house, and he left us. He never paid child support. In fact, he fought it, and it wasn't a lot. I've seen the letters, but clearly we mattered that little. When he got married, we weren't invited. I stood across the road from the church, watching with my sisters.
Like a stranger to my own father.
Canon Short, who was officiating the wedding and who I knew really well, came over and asked how I knew the bride and groom. When I said, "He's my father," the look on his face said everything. Years later, on Christmas Day, he took me to a pub and offered me a pint. I didn't drink any alcohol at all at the time, and I sat there shrinking in my seat, thinking, you don't know anything about me. I was paranoid, scared to say the wrong thing, terrified he'd judge me for who I was. I wanted to disappear into that chair. I was just trying to survive the hour without falling apart. Another Christmas Day, I was sat in his living room and there was a keyboard. I sat down, switched it on, and composed a silly little song. It was all about what my stepbrother and stepsisters had had for Christmas. Everyone was laughing and having fun. They said, "Play it for Dad." And I sang it for him, right there in the room. For a moment, he smiled. I thought I had him, that I had finally done something good enough, that maybe he would be proud of me. But then he said, "I can do a better one." Then sat down and played his own version. He looked over to my stepsister and said, "You know what? She can really sing." Then played a song with her on the guitar. I asked if we could do one together, and he simply said, "Not tonight." I just wanted a father-son moment, but he wouldn't do it. He couldn't bring himself to, and I've never understood why. Why was he so ashamed of me? Was he jealous, or did I just remind him of something he did not want to face? Years later, my father visited me briefly to meet my newborn son, William, his grandson. I asked if he wanted to hold him. He said, "I've just picked up a dead bird." And that was it. That moment broke something in me. Part of me had still been holding on, hoping maybe he'd have a different relationship with my son, that maybe William could finally have the relationship with him that I never had. But this story isn't about what he did. It's about what it left behind. Because abandonment isn't just something that happens. It's something you carry. It shows up in your silence, in the way you love or fear being loved, in the need to prove you're enough, in the panic when someone walks away, in the ache when you see a father who stays and wonder what that would have felt like. You start asking questions. Why wasn't I enough? Why did they leave me? What did I do wrong? And maybe you felt that way too. Maybe someone walked out on you and never looked back, left you with your self-esteem in the gutter. For years, I detested myself. I thought I was a total joke, the most pathetic person ever to have the misfortune of gracing the earth. But like Ianla Van Zandt said, you must find the strength to open the wounds, stick your hands inside, pull out the core of the pain that is holding you in your past, the memories, and make peace with them.
So let me tell you something that I have learned. You are not unlovable. You are not broken. Their absence says everything about them and not about you. It is not your fault.
But healing, that part is yours now, not because you caused the damage, but because you deserve the healing. Let me be real with you. This journey isn't easy. There will be days when you feel like you're back to square one, questioning your worth and wondering if healing is even possible for you. But trust me, it's within reach. Here's what has helped me and countless others. It's time to own your own story. Acknowledge what happened. Say it aloud. I was abandoned and it hurt. Naming your pain is the first step toward healing. You need to rebuild your self-worth. Abandonment can shatter your self-esteem. Engage in activities that bring you joy and surround yourself with people who uplift you. Positive affirmations and supportive relationships can help you realize your inherent worth. It's crucial to set emotional boundaries to protect yourself. Develop a toolbox of responses for when old thought patterns emerge. This empowers you to respond rather than react, fostering healthy relationships. Do not be afraid to seek therapy. It is not a sign of weakness. Working with a trauma-informed therapist can be transformative. Therapy provides a safe space to explore your wounds and develop coping strategies. You must practice self-care. Prioritize your well-being. Ensure you're eating nutritious foods, getting adequate sleep, and engaging in regular physical activity. These foundational practices bolster your resilience. As Brené Brown states, vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. By sharing your story, you not only heal, but also inspire others to do the same. Reparent that inner child. Address the unmet needs from your childhood by nurturing your inner child. This involves self-compassion, setting boundaries, and engaging in self-care practices that foster emotional regulation and self-awareness. Build secure relationships. Invest time in relationships where you feel seen, feel heard, and valued. These connections can serve as a corrective experience, helping you rewrite narratives shaped by past abandonment. Healing involves mourning the loss of what could have been. Give yourself permission to grieve the absence, the missed opportunities, and the pain. This process is essential for moving forward. And don't forget to celebrate your progress. Acknowledge and celebrate your growth, no matter how small. Each step forward is a testament to your strength and resilience. Remember, healing isn't linear, and every effort counts. Tony Robbins said, "You can blame the past, or you can build the future." I choose to build. And if you're still holding on to that old story, the one where they come back someday, say the perfect thing, make it all okay. If you're still playing it over in your head, just hoping they finally see you, love you the way you needed all along. I get it. I really do. But maybe it's time to let go of that story. The one where they're the answer, and start living the one where you can finally breathe, find peace, and save yourself. So let me finish by saying what they didn't. I see you. I'm sorry they didn't stay. But you don't have to abandon yourself too. You were never too much, never too broken, never too anything. You were just never given what you needed. But now you get to become the person you always needed. That's what this is about. That's what Compose Your Comeback means.
And if nobody has told you lately, I am damn proud of you.
Thanks for watching. If this hit home, subscribe and share. Someone else may need to hear this story.